Welcome to the Monday Monologue. Well, today I want to touch on something that somebody mentioned in a forum, and it was a really good point. And they were talking about this, I think it was an old Chin 300B amp. And, there were some people ditsing it, saying, this is, a junky amplifier. And most of the people that were talking about it obviously had never even seen one or heard one. And they were just guessing after just seeing that it was a made in China amp. And the person or the poster posted a schematic of it, and I looked at the schematic, it's like, it looks like it would probably work okay. And again, I haven't seen it or listened to it, so I can't really weigh in on it, but it looked a whole lot better than some of these other made in China amp schematics that I've seen. It looked like that this could reasonably sound pretty good. It looked a whole lot better than like that Rysong 850 that I know doesn't work good. But the poster then made an important comment. He said, well, I enjoy listening to the amp. And at the end of the day, isn't that what matters? And I know people have trash talk how, like, I have my listening room set up, or where I listen. It's not a listening room. It's my living room, where I also have a TV and some other stuff, and there was a place to put a stereo in the room that I wouldn't have to, rearrange the furniture or my life around, and I enjoy listening to music in that space. And to me, it sounds good, and I can put on some music, not think about the craziness that's going on in the world around us, and can just meditatively relax and listen to some fun music. At the end of the day, again, isn't that what this is about? That we really shouldn't be judging what other people find enjoyable. And one of the things that I think we forget is that we all are going to hear things differently. And I'm a firm believer in that one of the reasons that some people like this kind of speaker and that other people say it's junk is that our hearing is different. And if you look at this picture here, look at all the different shapes of these human ears. And the external shape of your ear is going to have a big impact on how those sound waves make their way into your inner ear. And if you don't think that's true, the next time you're listening to your stereo, put your fingers behind your ears and just move your ears out like that, or push them back. And notice how much different the stereo sounds or the music sounds. And that's what happens with people with different shaped ears. The same thing happens. And these little curly cues and stuff in our ears impact what it sounds like. And so the idea that you can make one system or one speaker or one amplifier tuning that's going to sound good to everybody just is not based in fact. And that's why gear needs to be auditioned. And with the way the internet sales and the retail environment is, trying to actually audition gear is almost impossible nowadays. And even if you go to a showroom and listen in their conditioned space, that's not going to be the same as when you put the stuff in your house. And so you almost have to just buy stuff and try it and be able to return it if you don't like it. And so that's just the reality, I believe, of this whole hi-fi thing, is we don't all hear the same. And so we have to remember that if somebody enjoys something or the way something sounds and they have a good time listening to it, then at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And, I've heard Paul from PS Audio and some other folks out there, they are opinionated, like I am about like what they think sounds good and everything, but I respect folks that say things like, but at the end of the day, what matters is if you enjoy it. And I should be doing that more myself too. That it really is about you individually enjoying what you hear. So another thing I want to do in this week's Monday Monologue that I had promised people I was going to do was a little show and tell. Some of y'all have sent me some really cool looking amplifiers, and I'm going to go back through. Right now I don't have the pictures in front of me, so I'm going to do kind of a slideshow here. And then as I'm showing these pictures, some of these are 300B amps, and some of them are preamps and some other stuff. And I think there's a EAR clone that somebody built into a rack that was really cool. And all of this stuff really shows the artistic talent of the builders and how creative they are. And that's another thing is I would never judge what somebody's build looks like based on my own personal preference. And I've built stuff in wood chassis. I kind of like those black metal coated things. I like the little trim rings and stuff I use, but other people, I'm probably one of the few people that uses those little aluminum trim rings, but I just think they look really cool. And everybody's kind of got their style. And that's what I like about this DIY community is people can explore their own creativity and what they think looks cool. And so all you folks that sent me pictures, I really appreciate it and have enjoyed looking at your builds. And I hope some other folks will share with me some of their builds, and we'll share them on a future Monday Monologue. And as you can see, we got the Noob Sound 6P1 sitting here. Really going to dive into that and convert this to Dave G from Audio Karma's circuit. And I think that's really going to take this little amplifier to the next level. And for you folks that own one of these or are looking to build a kind of scratch built amp, but the idea of coming up with fab work for the chassis yourself, this might be a good place to get your feet wet. Is try to find one of these. Maybe you can find one that's broken or doesn't work as a starting point, and then you can build an amp based off of this chassis. I think this is actually kind of a nice looking little amp. Now the one I have doesn't have the headphone jack, but some of y'all might find that a attractive feature to have. And it's got a switch somewhere up here, right over here, that switches between the 8-ohm jack and the headphones, so you can switch out the speakers and switch to the headphones if you want to, and putting different transformers in. And I think it's going to be a nice sounding little amp. Like I said, it's got some V meters that light up, and it's kind of a cool looking little amp. So I think this is going to be a fun project. We've still got my 300B amp to work on, and I've been trying to find time to deal with that. I just finished up a ST70, and I wanted to get this 6P1 off my plate. Remember, I was fighting with that 6C33C, and I'm going to kind of let that percolate in the background. I think once I get this done, we're going to dive into the 300B and get that done, because that circuit I know works. And the only thing we're changing this time is I've got a different power transformer and choke. I'm going with all ISO iron. And then I'm going to try that Front Panel Express, I think. And I need to learn how their software works to design a top plate that's all engraved with tube numbers and stuff on it to make it a little more upscale, and then get a really nice wood chassis fabricated for it. And that'll be a fun new project, which again I know sounds amazing with those EML tubes, because that's like my main listening, or it sounds amazing to me. And several people have built that circuit and have raved about how great it sounds. And so I think that's a really solid design. I do have some phono stages built, ready to ship if anybody's interested. I tried to update my webpage a little bit about have some products listed on it, which I didn't in the past. Get some people asking about it, and I'm sure people want to just be able to go to the website and look at it. Probably need to embellish that a little bit. It's not too fancy looking. When I look at other competitors' sites, they are a lot more elaborate pictures and text and flowery language and stuff, and yeah, that's not my stick, but maybe I need to do that if I want to sell some amps. So anyway, got that done. That took a little bit of time, and I think that's kind of it for the Monday Monologue for this week. Do have some fun music selections. One of them is something y'all have probably heard before, but I think it's a fairly recent release. This is the Mo-Fi version of Love Over Gold by Dire Straits. I don't remember this album when it came out. I remember Brothers in Arms, but this thing sounds freaking amazing. Especially the first three sides. The back side of the second album is, yeah, it sounds okay. But the first three are just mind-blowing. And so, yeah, pick up a copy of this. That's really cool. And I think you'll agree it really highlights a revealing sounding system, and it really pushes the dynamics of what your system can produce. So, yeah, for a good test album, that's fun. The other thing I've been playing with is listening to these old recordings of these living stereo kind of classical music stuff. And this is Concerto D? Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce any of this stuff, but yeah, really enjoyed listening to this. And these were based off some RCA. Oh, they had a, what did they call this? It was made off a 3-track stereo master tape with a orthophonic high fidelity. Yeah. Anyway, just something different to listen to. So, 2 music selections for the week. Get this thing that's been sitting in my shop for a couple of years done, and starting to kind of move forward on some of these long-term projects. I've got some other builds in the background of my brain that I'm thinking about doing. One of them's kind of a crazy one, but the other 2 are using these Acrosound vintage transformers. I want to get those built, but like I said, we're going to do this, then the 300B. So, yeah, I've got enough projects to keep this channel going for years. So anyway, thanks for you guys that enjoy my channel, and thanks for folks that comment on the videos. I really appreciate that. It's fun interacting with most of the comments. Of course, there's always some jerks, but that's kind of the way it is in life too, right? There's some people that are nice and some people that aren't, and you have to learn to deal with both. And so, again, thanks to you folks that have subscribed to the channel. Thanks to you folks that are Patreon members, or you've joined the membership on my channel. The only real perk right now is you get some early access to videos like this one. But I appreciate joining. I also appreciate folks that make donations, however small, at my website. That helps me go buy some weird tubes to try and amps like this and buy parts and be able to produce content for you guys. So thanks for that. And we will see you next week for the Monday Monologue.